and welcome to another web development tutorial. On this one we'll be using jQuery, which is a JavaScript library, and then we'll make a div on a HTML page pop up from the screen. So to show you what I mean, I'll go onto a website that I've been developing quite recently, and I've displayed it on this login bit up here. Now when I click login and register, you get this pop-up box. Now I can click close and it will close it. I can click anywhere outside here and it will close, and also I can click or press the escape key on my keyboard and it will close as well. I've also got this, but we won't go into this just now. It will just go straight back to a different pop-up, and then there's another button to go back to the original one. So first of all, I'm going to be doing this through XAMPP. Now I've got mine set up. If you don't have XAMPP, or if you want it, then I'll put a link in the description to my other video or an annotation, and you can see how to set it up. So inside the htdocs, I've just got a jQuery folder and then Popup, and in this I have an index.php page which you can see here, and I also have the jQuery page, or jQuery script, sorry. Now that script is 1.8, I believe. I tried this with 1.9, but for some reason it's not as updated, so we'll be doing it using 1.8. So first of all, just get a basic HTML page. It doesn't have to have anything fancy. You don't need to have any sort of divs in it yet, just the doc type, which is HTML, and then the basic tags, and don't forget to include jQuery.js. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the div. So inside here we'll do a href, and it's going to be popup and then hyphen box, and a class of popup hyphen window, and then just type anything like click me and then close that. So we have that, and if we save that and refresh the page, we just have this link with, if you look down the bottom you can see it's just an anchor point which doesn't do anything. So go back onto it. Now we put in a div. So div id equals popup box, and a class equals popup info with a capital I, and then close the div. So in here, this is where we're going to put whatever we want to pop up. So I'll start with a form. So I'll just do a label, and this can be anything. And then on the next line we can just put input type equals text, and we can name this anything you really want to. Just name it random. And then what we can do on the next line is we can put a button. So button type is equal to just button, and then class is equal to close. Now type in click to close the dialog box, and then close the button tag. So that's us now got the div, which is all of it, and then a form with something on it. So if we save that and go on to the index page again and refresh, we now have the label, a text box, and then a button. So now we need to style it. So what we'll do is, instead of having different pages for different types of files like CSS, just going to keep it all in here. So what we want to do is we need to style a bit of the body, and then we need to style this whole div, and then we also need to style a mask. Now the mask is going to be a dark background that fades away from the screen so that you're focusing directly onto this pop-up box. So first of all, we'll just start with the style tag. So on the style tag, we'll start with the body. So body tag doesn't need any hashtags or full stops. So background, I always use E2, E2, E2. That's one of my main background colours that I use. I think it's a nice sort of creamy grey colour. So margin is 0px, and then we also want to do padding as 0px. Now because we are going to have it black, we need to set the foreground colour. So just colour F, and then that'll, once we refresh this, you can see this all goes that sort of grey colour, and then that goes white, but we'll need that later. So now we can style the class of Popup info, which is here. So Popup info, remember the capital I, and then display none. This will hide it just now until we decide to show it through jQuery. So we'll do padding, and we can do as much padding as we want. I'll do 15px, so 15 pixels of padding throughout the full thing. We'll do a border of 1px solid, and then we want a sort of blue colour around the edge, so we'll do 1852 FD. That should do it. And then float left. Now the font size, you can do any sort of font size at all, but I'll just do 1.2 EM. That should be enough. So if we save that and go back on here, you can see it disappears. Now if I take off that display and save it, that's it there. So you can see it's got a border, it's got the text, and it's bigger, and it's floating to the left of this. So what I'll do is I'll put the display none back in, and then we'll continue and save that. So now we need to position it. So if you do position and then fixed, this means no matter how wide or how high your browser is, it will always stay fixed to where you want it. So if you're going to have it top 50%, so this puts the actual dialog box to the middle vertically, and then we'll go to the left 50%, which puts it in bang the middle of your web page. Now we'll do a margin of -100 pixels, 0, 0, and then -100 pixels. Now we need to do the Z index, or Z index. What the Z index is if you have different elements on your web page, the Z index, or the element with the higher Z index, is the one that shows first. So because we want this pop-up box to be in front of everything, we'll put in 5 nines. It doesn't matter what number you put in as long as it's the highest. So I put it as 99999 just in case we have a lot of stuff. So now we'll do a box shadow just to give it a bit of edge. So we'll do 0px and 0px so it doesn't move away from the actual box, it stays around all 4 edges. And then we'll do either 3 or 4 pixels. I'll do 4 just to show you. And then again we're going to do the exact same colour as the border. Now you might think it's a bit weird, but the border is a solid colour and the box shadow will be fading. So, and what you want to do is copy that and paste it 2 more times. In front of the second one, put Moz, or hyphen, Moz hyphen, and then in front of the other one, WebKit. And save that. So now we have box shadow for things like Internet Explorer and Safari, and then we have Mozilla's for Firefox, and also one for the rest of the browsers, things like Chrome, and I think Safari uses WebKit as well. So now we've got that, we need to do a border radius. So border radius, and then we'll just do 5 pixels all around. And again, Moz, border radius, and 5 pixels again. And then again, WebKit. So WebKit, border radius, 5px. So that's us styled that. Now we're going to apply a mask in here, and we need to style it, but we apply the mask through jQuery, so we don't actually put the HTML tag right there. So for the mask, it's going to be a div, so we'll call that hashtag mask, and then we'll do display none, because it's not going to be there anyway, a background of black. You could do an alpha colour if you want, but we're going to use jQuery, and we're going to put in an opacity as well down below. So we're going to do a position. So position is fixed because it's not going to move about, it's going to stay in the same place. And then we'll do left 0, and then we'll do top 0. So this means that it will stay on the website, it will stay right up here in the corner. So what we'll do is we need a Z index. So if you remember, up here we have it as 5 nines. As long as this number is below that, it will stay behind it. So we'll do 5 eighths, that'll put it behind it. So the width, 100% of the browser, and then also height, 100%, and then the opacity. So the opacity can go between 0.00 or 1.0. So you can do 0.74, 73, anything like that, but we're going to do a 0.95. And then that's us finished the mask. So now we have the styles for that, we have the styles for everything. All we need to do now is run the jQuery. So when we look at here, we can see everything's hidden and nothing at all is shown apart from this, and when you click it, it does nothing. What we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of jQuery below the styles. So first of all, start with script and close the script. So in here is where we're going to do the jQuery. So first things first, we need to do document dot ready and then a function, 2 parentheses, open it, and then close it with the curly bracket, parenthesis, and semicolon. So in here is where we do everything. Now to let you know what this is, this tells the browser, or tells the scripts that's going to be in here, to wait until the document, which is the web page we're currently on, index.php, and when it's ready, we'll do the function. So the first function is, I'm going to open it with the $, open parenthesis, and then we do the apostrophe, and do a dot popup window. So this pop-up window here is the class of this hyperlink reference, and then we do dot click, open that, and then do function and open it again. So we now have this bit. So this tells it when the link here with the class of pop-up window is clicked, then do this function. So in here, what we'll do is we need to set a variable. So var pop-up box with a capital B is equal to, so if you don't know what a variable is, it's just a bit of code that holds certain information, any information you want. So var pop-up box with a capital B is equal to $, open parenthesis, this, which is this pop-up, dot attr, sorry, which is the attribute of the href. So this tells it that the value of pop-up box is equal to the href of this, which is the link that we've got. So if we save this, again nothing happens, but you can see here pop-up box. This is what we are going to use to call on the actual pop-up. So we have this. Now what we need to do now is we can now do pop-up box dot fade in with a capital I, and then the time frame. You can do it any time you want. You can do it for seconds or minutes, but we're going to do 400 milliseconds, which is 0.4 of a second. So now we need to do the margins. So another variable, and call it pop marg top, capital M, capital T, is equal to, open parenthesis, $, open parenthesis again, pop-up box, because that's what we're using, dot height, open and close parenthesis, plus 24, and close the parenthesis, and then do divided by 2. Now you can copy that and paste it again, and now it's left and then width, and save that. So now when we look at it, we've got two margins which we're going to set in a minute, but we've made this pop-up box fade in. So save that and go into the browser and refresh. Now when I click this, you can see this comes up in the middle. Eventually we're going to change the background of this to be black, and then when we click this button, this dialog box will go away, and we can also press the we can also press the escape key on our keyboards, and it will close the dialog box again. So what we're going to do is, on this, just add a background of 000, and then when we go back and check it, this is now black. We can see the text, and then we've got a button we can click and something we can type in. So now go back to this, and we can go back to the jQuery. So what we can do is, under here, we can do $, open parenthesis, pop-up box dot CSS, open the parenthesis, open the curly brackets, and then close it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do margin top, which is the CSS part, and it's also how jQuery calls upon a margin or any sort of CSS code, and then a colon, and we'll do minus pop marg top, which is this, and then a comma. On the next one we do margin left, and then minus pop marg left. Now this is where we apply the mask. If you remember, we styled the mask up here, so when we tell jQuery to put in or append a div, it will put it right in here, anywhere below the body tag, and then when we click that link again, you'll be able to see it. So we'll open that and type body. So we've called the body, and we're going to append, and then in here we're going to append a div tag. Now we can append anything we want, so we'll do div id is equal to mask and close it, and then close the div. That's all we need to do for that. Now what we need to do is we need to call the mask div, so it's mask with the apostrophes dot fade in, and then again we set the time, so 400, then return false, and that's it. So now what we've got, if we save it and go on here, when we click this, we now get this pop-up box back here, and we also have the mask that we put. Now if we go back up and change the mask, we can do F and refresh the page, and we can see it's that. And we can also do FOO for red and refresh the page, and we can see you can change it to whatever colour you want, but we're going to keep it as FFF. Or you can change this to whatever you want, both the opacity and the background. It can be anything you want as long as everything else stays the same. So we'll have it doing that. Oh, let's keep it as O. So now we have this, and if you look carefully you can still see the text up here, but the main focus is this. So just refresh that. So now what we need to do is go back down here. So under the return false, we need to tell the browser that when we click the button, which is this dialog button here, when we click that or click anywhere outside here, then close everything so it goes back to normal. So what we can do is we can do the same again, but we'll do button.close. So that's a button with a class of close, comma, and then the div mask. And then we do a dot live, so anything that's been done live as it is. And then we'll do click, comma, function again, and open that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to close that just so we can keep it the way it is first. So now we need to do the mask div, and then we need to do the class. Now the class is this popup info. So popup info, and then fade out with a capital O, and then 400, comma, function, open and close the parentheses, open the curly brackets, and then close them again. Now in here, this is where we do mask dot remove. So this removes that div tag that we just put in here. That removes it from the body tag, so it no longer exists until we click that button again. And then under here we put return false. So if we save that, we can go in here, refresh. If we click in here, we can see it disappears, and then click here and nothing happens. But if we click the button, it disappears. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to allow it so if we press the escape key on our keyboard, then it will close it. So document, and you don't need to open a new script, you just need to keep it below. So document dot key up function, and then E inside the parenthesis this time, and open it. So we have this to start with. Now I'm using a lot of spaces, but just to keep it neat so you can see where everything goes and things like that. So now we need an if statement. An if statement is where there's a yes or no answer, or a true or false. So it will say if the E, which is the function, dot key code with a capital C, is equal to 27. 27 is the key code for the escape key. Open parenthesis, then close. So now this is where we do the exact same thing as before. So open and close that just now, and then return false. Now in here, this is where we put all the things we want to close. So we want to close the mask, the pop-up info, and then pop-up box. Now it will just close, but if we want to fade out, then we can add that. So I'll save that just now and we can see how it works. So click here and I press escape, and it doesn't do anything. So fade out 400. So far we've got if the key code is 27, then the mask, pop-up info, and pop-up box dot fade out 400, and then we can save, and then we can see if that works. And as you see, in fact I'll take the mouse away from it and press the escape key, and it takes it away. So you've now learned how to add a div tag to the body using jQuery. We've learned how to add on a fade effect to make a div tag show up, and then we've used both a button, a click event, and also pressing a key on the keyboard to close it. So thank you for watching, and hope you have fun.